This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, we got plenty of basketball news to discuss, but I know you've been really focused on football lately, so we'll start there. Spring game reaction in just a sec, but your thoughts on the reports out there that Jacolby Criswell plans on entering the transfer portal?
Yeah, it was pretty evident that, Taylor Green started with the ones and stayed with the ones, and, there's a certain level of execution he showed in spring. And it's harder to do it with the twos. You have less experienced O-linemen, less experienced receivers and all that. But Taylor Green was just clearly ahead of Jacolby. And you hate to see it as a home state kid from Morrilton. But, those are the reports that he's planning to hit the portal. And, I don't know what the destination would be for him. He had a few moments last year, the long run against Auburn. I think that set up a touchdown, and then he directed a touchdown drive or two in the Missouri game. So, I wish him the best. He just, here's how they explain Taylor Green. He came in and just did all the right things, from how long he stayed studying video, how he led the players, what he did in mat drills. And he just stayed out front, and neither Jacolby or Malachi Singleton could get ahead of him.
Who's going to be the backup QB then, Tom? If Jacolby Criswell is leaving, and it really sounds like he is from multiple reports, are you putting your stock in KJ Jackson or Malachi Singleton?
Well, I think for this coming year, because when you get into camp, you're going to start narrowing the reps down. Taylor Green's reps are going to go up. But I think for this year, Malachi Singleton is the more obvious choice. Look, I talked to some folks who love KJ Jackson's arm. They think he might have the best arm on that team. But you also saw a lot of freshman presence out there. Some decisions, there was a couple of plays that you knew were supposed to be kind of swing passes that he threw that were behind the line and a little off. And that's the kind of play that your back doesn't catch it. And all of a sudden, it's a free-for-all on who recovers it, and it could be a scoop and score. And I point that out just to say that I think he's got great potential, but he just looked like a freshman a lot this spring. That's why it was good for him to be here for spring drills. His Singleton, I think, is going to be very good. But I would say Singleton would have the lead for number 2 quarterback.
Tom Murphy with us on the McLarty-Daniel hotline. What's your reporter's nose tell you about what's going on with Isaiah Augustu and him entering the portal, and where does that leave Arkansas as far as depth when it comes to running back?
Well, I think he was close with Jimmy Smith, and as all these guys were. And, I did a few stories over the last couple of years at how Jimmy Smith managed to keep that running back room together when it was Rocket and A.J. Green and Dubinion, and then they would add to it. But now it's kind of broken up some. Rocket transferred, A.J. Green transfer. We'll see him in the Oklahoma State game in week 2. And Augustu, even though I really like his potential, I think he can do some fantastic things. He was number 2, and they announced that Jaquindon Jackson and Dubinion were 1A and 1B basically. You need 3 or 4 guys to get through at running back, I think, in the modern game. I love Jaquindon Jackson, his attitude, his toughness. He's the kind of guy who, Sam Pittman described this, you give him the ball on the 6, and people hit him on the 4, and he drags you for a couple yards. And then you do that twice, and you score a touchdown. And also, Dubinion's had just a fantastic attitude. I asked him about, the offseason, a lot of dudes hit the portal. Why not him? And he's like, hey, man, I just wanted to show people I'm a Razorback. I'm not chasing the money. And so I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Augustu, but he was a third back. Yeah. And so I think on depth, you'll have Jackson and Dubinion, which is a really good 1-2 to enter the SEC with. And then you got Dominic Johnson, who's just been there. And then you got Braylon Russell, who's up and coming. So I think you can get through a season with those guys. And, then there's couple walk-ons and so on.
I don't want to compare Bobby Petrino's offense too much to what happened here 15 years ago, but we do know he likes to get the ball to the running backs in a variety of ways. You're not just going to be back there to take handoffs. You'll receive passes, but the other big part is you've got to chip whoever's blitzing and protect the quarterback. But I think all of those things, build your resume tape for the next level. So, I mean, I think as a running back, you'd have to be excited about the variety of ways you'll be utilized in a Bobby Petrino offense.
Well, ask Niall Davis and Ronnie Wingo and Dennis Johnson, Broderick Green, what it's like to be in a Bobby Petrino offensive running back. Those guys had some nice careers here. Niall went on to the NFL. You cannot play for Bobby Petrino if you don't do the blocking and the chipping. So that's going to improve from last year, where I think that got away from them a little bit. But a Bobby Petrino offense is simply this, and this is how he described it: feed the studs. Get the ball in the hands of guys who are going to get yards and first downs and touchdowns for you, and that will involve backs. The tight ends had a big spring. Isaiah Satania, as much as we thought there were going to be bubble screens and all these things for Satania, it did not play out in the offense last year, and it was befuddling. And every few weeks we'd ask Sam Pittman about why it wasn't happening, and sometimes he'd just say, I don't know. That's what we practiced. And I think one time they said, there's been, some inconsistencies with catching. Well, Satania is a game breaker type, and Bobby Petrino will get him the ball. And then you add in Broden and Armstrong and some other receivers. There's going to be playmakers on this offense.
Yeah, Sam Pittman was very complimentary of both Tyrone Broden and Armstrong, who were coming off family stuff and injuries prior to the spring game. Both had good touchdown catches, and hopefully we'll have a better 1-2 combo this season as we're talking with our buddy Tom Murphy via the McLarty Daniel Hotline, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, you mentioned Oklahoma State earlier with the A.J. Green connection. The game time the prior week has been moved up to Thursday night when Arkansas will take on Little Rock Pine Bluff. It was scheduled for August the 31st. Now it'll be August the 29th. I believe it's 6:30 on ESPNU. How much of a benefit is that for preparing for the Big 12 runner-up that following week in Stillwater?
Man, I think it's a massive benefit. You're playing a night game down there to start with. They've had some 3 p.m. games down there, I want to say, recently. Super hot. But a night game, if you're playing on a Saturday, they get back really late, and they're then kind of behind the curve for the next game. So in this case, you get back and you can really rest up Friday. You can get in a Saturday practice. So, you're at least a day or two ahead of Oklahoma State. And who knows, maybe let's see if they can move their opener up. I'm not sure who they're against or anything, but I think it's just a massive benefit a lot of different ways because, you're basically traveling to that first game and then you're traveling to the second game. And the extra prep, night game, it's all pluses for Arkansas.
I was telling Ty yesterday, this game being on a Thursday, being in Little Rock, almost feels detached from the rest of the schedule. It almost feels like Oklahoma State has become the de facto season opener, at least from my feelings and standpoint. I know we'll air the game on the radio. We'll cover it for the paper and the websites and all that, Tom. We'll do our stuff. But this game, I think when we look back on it, it will almost – you'll have to remind yourself of when and where the season opener was.
Yeah, it will have a certain feel to it. And one thing I didn't mention was it's a Thursday game. So, how many people are going to get off work in time and make it and all that? So it might not be just a massive full house, but, that's the one downside. You're playing it on a Thursday in Little Rock, and your folks up here will have to travel down and,
Hey, you start your Labor Day weekend. You just get your Labor Day weekend going early. That's what you do.
That's the way I would look at it, yeah. But I think you're right. And they have to play better than they did last time against Pine Bluff. The starters scored 6 touchdowns in the first half. It was 42 points. And then the backups went in, and you could tell the second O-line was a big drop-off. And Malik Hornsby was running quarterback, and they scored 3 points in the second half of that game. And I think they need to show their second unit is more capable this time around against Pine Bluff.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.